Hey, Black America, were you shocked that so many Latino people voted for Trump? Were you shocked by this? Were you shocked to find out that so many Latino people were, right wing? Were you shocked? Were you shocked by this? Were you shocked? I wasn't shocked by this because I've been trying to warn you about this for years. And people were flagging me down. They were calling me a racist. They were saying that I was divisive. They were saying that I was a Russian troll. They were saying I was a Russian bot. They were saying that all kinds of things. I was working for all kinds of agencies. But the truth is, you found out with the past election, and you found out recently, oh no, I was absolutely right. And how much have I been trying to warn you about this? Well, here's a compilation for years, damn near 45 minutes of me saying this for years, trying to warn you about this. Take a look. There are things that the general public is not aware of when it comes to police gangs, and I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about. In terms of demographics, some of the reasons why these police gangs have gotten away with what they've gotten away with, and how it connects to the LA City Council and their racism scandal. And I realize this video is gonna burn some bridges, so let's get to burning, because the truth will set you free.
Rip and tear.
And you see, in Los Angeles, the new face of white supremacy is no longer white people when you look at the actual numbers, because overall, most law enforcement in Los Angeles and in California in general happens to be Latino. And you might be wondering, how in the world is it that we have mostly Latino officers who are targeting mostly Latino people and black people in particular, when we are supposed to have a coalition? And my response to that is that this coalition has long been frayed and long has issues that people just don't want to be honest about. Like, for example, when you look at the LA City Council's racism scandal, Nuri Martinez and others mention dark-skinned Mexicans and or dark-skinned Hispanic indigenous people. And so when you get people trying to deflect, saying that the police were also targeting Hispanic people too, what those people are engaging in is a lie by omission, by failing to mention the reasons why those particular Hispanic people are being targeted. And so at this point in the video, we have to discuss Mejorar la Raza, which basically means to improve the race or lighten the race in Spanish. And that is the mentality that Nuri Martinez and the LA City Council, along with the LA County Sheriff's Department and also Police Department, who are once again mostly Hispanic, all operate under. Because this sentiment is not unheard of, and especially when you go down to Mexico or any part of the Spanish-speaking world. And so there has to be some explanation as to why there's so many Latino officers, in fact majority Latino officer membership in these deputy gangs. And the simple answer to that question is look at the numbers. Because in majority white neighborhoods in Los Angeles, you don't have police gangs, and those officers are mostly white and or Hispanic, which means that the Hispanic officers who are abusing and or terrorizing black and Hispanic people must be distinguishing between the types of Hispanic people that they are targeting. And when you start digging deeper, you find that the massive amount of colorism in the Spanish-speaking world is not only prolific, but has a lot to do with the attitudes and the racist machismo culture that you find amongst these mostly Hispanic populated police gangs. And so in conclusion, there is a reason why people are trying to play down what happened in Los Angeles, because it reveals the current face of white supremacy, which I have to say is no longer white people. This video is addressed to the Hispanic community. There is anti-black racism within the Hispanic community within the United States, South America, and throughout the world. There are certain words that are in Spanish speaking languages that certain terms that you know exist that you don't talk about. Like, for example, in Spanish, mejorando la raza. What does that mean? I can tell you exactly what that means. It means improve the race or lighten the race. The idea and the concept is that you marry people who are lighter to make people lighter. And that is not a tiny sentiment. That is a widespread sentiment. In fact, I know it because I have seen it. I come from South Carolina all the way over to Washington State by car, so I've seen it throughout the country. Let's address this with honesty. Be honest about it. So family, this story comes from Los Angeles, California. In leaked audio, LA council members make racist remarks and mock their colleagues. They were targeting black people and being racist towards black people. The LA City Council President, Nuri Martinez, made racist remarks in a 2021 meeting. So let's get deeper into this story. And family, it was 3 Latino members of the Los Angeles City Council and a top county labor official who held a conversation last fall that included some racist remarks towards black people. Like, for example, the LA City Council President Nuri Martinez said that a white councilman handled his young black son as though he were an accessory. And she also said that his son was, quote, like a monkey in Spanish. Seriously. That's what she said. She was caught on tape saying that. And then a few minutes later, when referring to the Los Angeles County District Attorney, George Gascon, she said, F that guy, and she also said, he's with the blacks. So the Mijola La Raza stuff that I've been talking about for the longest time, because the woman that I'm going to marry is Hispanic. And she speaks fluent Spanish, and her mother is Mexican. And she's told me about this Mijola La Raza stuff, where there's a lot of anti-Blackness within the Hispanic community that nobody wants to talk about. This happened in Los Angeles. There is no gaslighting, no lying you can do, no deflections you can do. This is a heavily populated Hispanic, Black, and Democrat state. In California, there is no gaslighting and no lying, no deflection you can do. This is a problem that the Hispanic community has to address, period. And the other people you had in that conversation were council members Kevin De Leon and also Gil Cedillo, and also the Los Angeles County Federation of Labor President Ron Herrera. And they had some very choice words that they said, some very inappropriate language that was recorded and released. And then LA Council member De Leon said that holding a black child is somehow comparable to holding a Louis Vuitton bag, and also referred to another council member as the 4th black member, even though they're white. And it would appear that foundational black Americans or black descendants of American slaves were right all along when we said there's a whole lot of anti-Blackness within the Hispanic community that we must be honest about. We're going to discuss some of the racism that we've seen in LA County. We're going to discuss it because I didn't realize how close to home some of this stuff is going to hit. You know, when I first talked about this, I'm thinking to myself, around certain circles that I'm talking to allies, people who understand. And the second that I mentioned my anger towards LA council members saying some racist things about, 2-year-old black toddlers, it's calm down, Dion, calm down. There's racism in every race. Have you ever noticed how it doesn't matter how aggrieved we are, right? It doesn't matter what the current news is. It's always calm down. You have better behavior than our folks, right? Have you ever noticed that pattern? I've noticed that every time you turn around, black folks are expected to act better than you. And I'm going to tell you something. We're getting tired of that. We're getting tired of being acted upon, and then you tell us to act better with our reactions. You have LA council members who were caught on tape, on audio, leaked audio, calling black children monkeys. There is no way for us to inappropriately react to that, right? Given that who the intended target was, right? You would think that in that moment, people would zip it. They wouldn't do the all lives matter thing, right? But I just heard it. I just heard somebody very close to me, all lives matter, even this situation, as they live in California, in the very state this happened. Don't you find that incredible? Even when we are the agreed party in LA County, they are somehow making it about somehow being our fault. Being our fault. That's how it always works out for black people. LA County, a bunch of racists in LA County. 3 Hispanic members of the LA Council, LA City Council, were caught on tape being racist. And yet, for some reason, the mainstream media won't touch it. For some reason, the same people who went after Dave Chappelle, Tracy Morgan, Whoopi Goldberg, so many other black celebrities, you told black celebrities to shut up and dribble. You told black celebrities to not kneel. You told black celebrities to not speak out. And yet, for some reason, some odd reason, people are silent now. Don't be silent. Speak up now. You had so much to say when we were outspoken. You had so much to say when we were out there speaking our truth to improve our people, to get rights and tangibles for our people. So if you were speaking out then, tell us to shut up and freaking dribble. Then speak up now when you have a legitimate case of racism, when you have it on tape that you can't deny. I don't want to hear about calm down. I don't want to hear about my tone. You don't like it, leave. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Because right now I've earned this rage. LA City Council, they've earned that smoke. You sit there on tape calling black children what? Monkeys? And you want me to not say anything about that. And then you want me to think that there's nothing wrong with the larger culture there. That mijola la raza stuff. Now, playing stupid does not improve how I feel about it. Being honest does at that point. Right? Being honest does. I don't want to hear any deflections. It's my live stream. You don't like it, leave. No, we've sat around and we've heard this mijola la raza nonsense for the longest time. For the longest time. No, you're going to hear this smoke now. You've denied the anti-Blackness coming out of that community for the longest time. You've lied about it. No. Clean your house. It's 2022. It is too late in the game for people to be sitting here playing stupid. I didn't know that was racist. I don't believe you. I didn't know there was a bunch of anti-Blackness in the Hispanic community. I don't believe you. There's whole terms for it in Spanish. I don't believe you. My first major viral live stream was a person, right? A person who was from the Mexican tribe in Mexico. And an actual indigenous person who lives in that country. I had about 8,900 people watching concurrently. That was my biggest live stream ever. And they were telling me about all the anti-Blackness that was going on in Mexico. So now you want me to believe there's no anti-Blackness in Mexico? Are you serious? Stop it. How dare people come to me, see something like that happen, I complain about it, and then you lecture my reaction to it? Excuse me, there were people who walked on stage with Dave Chappelle trying to harm that man. Went on stage for jokes. And now you're telling me that my reaction when someone is sitting on a city council for one of America's largest cities, so much power, they have the equivalent power of a small country in LA. If you look at like GDP, now you're telling me my reaction to that is bad? Stop it. People have exposed their racism, not so much by their reaction, but by how you tell others to react. Just let it go. What do you mean just let it go? That's in LA, Los Angeles. If their city council is caught on tape being racist towards black people, that's a major problem. How would it not be? Nuri Martinez, who is the president of the Los Angeles City Council, do you know do you know where she also worked at? The LA School Board. So if she's calling black children monkeys, how does she feel about all those black children who were underneath her care while she was with the LA School Board? That's the real question, right? But you're going to tell me to have a certain reaction. When those kind of questions linger, you're going to tell me how to react. When those kinds of questions linger. Are you serious? Are you serious? That means that every time a police officer came up before that council to be fired, be disciplined, lectured, all that stuff, right? That means whenever those black victims never got justice, it was intentional. Because they showed us how they felt about black people right on tape. Right on tape. And now people can't play stupid anymore. See, it's out there in the open now. You can't hide it anymore. It's out there in the open, guys. And that's why people are now copping pleas. Well, see, there's racists in every race. Yeah, you could technically say that if you look at a power dynamic, but racism is about power. And what power do black folks have over the LA City Council? The president of the LA City Council is Hispanic, right? And they're all Democrats. Every last one of them. All of them Democrats. We have no power there. So how can we be equally racist there? We can't be, right? So in that situation, you should say, you know what? I'm not going to make any excuses. Your anger is warranted. I'm going to support you. That's how I'm going to roll. That's not what this person did. They immediately wanted to lecture me on how to raise my kid, on how to do it. Listen. That's how this goes. That's how it works for black people in this country. It doesn't matter how on point you are. It doesn't matter how aggrieved you are. It doesn't matter if you are the targeted party. They will always come back at you and somehow expect for you to act better than the racists. Because what people have been told all this time is that it's not them who has to behave. It's us who has to behave no matter what they do. See, that's what happens when you see black folks as a permanent underclass. As a permanent underclass, you feel you can treat us any kind of way. See, all the things that I speak about, it's all blended together. That's why the cops are out of control, because people see us as a bad thing. So they fund the police as a way of expressing their dislikeness of us. That's why they have no problem with us spending more money on the police misconduct settlements than we did for certain units going to war. Yeah, I actually did the actual content. I've actually crunched those numbers. Right? So that's why. That's why people have no problem always trying to downplay what happens to us. You would never do that to certain other communities. For example, look at what's happening to Kanye West. Look what's happening to Kanye West. Kanye, it don't matter what kind of excuse Kanye makes, he's just wrong. But Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan says the exact same things that Dave Chappelle got in trouble for, right? In fact, Joe Rogan said it in a much more harsher way. You see anybody jumping on stage with Joe Rogan? Don't worry, I'll wait. Don't worry, I'll wait. Do you see anybody jumping on stage with Joe Rogan? Look, Tracy Morgan said some things that he probably shouldn't have said. But he said it a long time ago, right? Tom Hanks was found on a certain list with a certain someone who didn't do anything to himself, if you know what I mean. You know who I'm talking about. Tom Hanks, Bill Clinton, a lot of them were actually on that list. Are they canceled yet? Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you seen a news article about a Catholic priest? Most of them white. You see one yet? No. Whoopi Goldberg. It didn't matter it didn't matter if Whoopi Goldberg apologized or not. What she said was wrong. But you see how swift the punishment was, right? You saw that, right? Meanwhile, Meanwhile, you've got white actors playing Asians, playing black people, playing Middle Easterns, doing the most insulting things. You had an Italian man for the longest time playing as a Native American. You remember those freaking commercials with the little Native American guy with the freaking tear? You know, when people would freaking litter. All right. Coming to find out that guy was not actually Native. He was Italian. They can do the most offensive stuff you can think of, right? The most offensive stuff you can think of, and yet it's okay. Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. He got no backlash. He got no backlash. Eminem can say some of the most offensive lyrics you've ever thought of in a rap song, right? But then Tyga, he says something that supposedly he put out that song called I Caramba. And it was supposedly offensive towards certain people in other communities. So he had to actually change it. But Eminem can perform at the halftime show. Colin Kaepernick can't kneel as he's playing football. During the national anthem. But Eminem, who put out the Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, he can perform at the halftime show. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second. That is anti-Blackness if I've ever seen it. But it's okay because Eminem is considered a liberal. He's a good guy. See? Everybody's got to be a little bit more honest about the levels of anti-Blackness we're seeing across this country. And no, I don't have time for you to learn about it and catch up. Catch up. Get with the program. You want to know why? Because I have a black child that's actually on the way, and I already have one. Right? So my thing is, if that's the case, suppose somebody doesn't understand fire safety. I don't have time for you to catch up. So if you don't understand racism, you can't be around my child. You can't be around me. I don't have time for you to catch up. We've been through too much as a country in the past 3 years for me to take chances. It is now or never for black folks in this country. We ain't got time for you to catch up. Catch up. Read a book. Use Google. Stop using the whole, I don't know what racism is. Dodge. It's a lie. Stop using the whole, I'm going to criticize Chicago. I'm going to criticize black on black. Listen. No one cares about your silly deflections in your stand-in terms for black people. It's not changing our minds. It's not working. So if you're seeing that's not working, maybe it's time for a different strategy. Maybe listen. Right? Trolling, doing silly stuff like that doesn't change minds. There's a reason why so many people listen to me, watch my content, why I average over 2.5 million views a month at this point. Because what I say not only makes sense, but whenever I make a prediction, it ends up happening. Not because I'm so smart. It's only because I'm honest. It's only because I'm honest. It doesn't matter what happens. Right? When it comes to black folks, they will always deflect blame. So do you understand what kind of mindset and conditions you've created in us, America? You've made victims who you victimize, and then you blame the victim. So it comes to the point where we're not going to listen to you anymore. Or we get tired of being crapped on. You've had 400 years to fix white supremacy. You've had 400 years to fix what they call that in freaking Spanish? Mijola la raza. You had 400 years to fix that and white supremacy, and you didn't do either. So step out the way and let us take over the new black media, foundational black Americans, the civil rights freaking movements on the freaking streets. Let us take over, because obviously you can't fix white supremacy, but we can. That's why we are making progress. So family, I got some breaking news. Los Angeles City Council President Nury Martinez has resigned from her leadership role after audio leaked of her racist remarks. Nury has been naughty. Oh boy, let's get deeper into this story, this delicious story. And as I previously reported on, Nury Martinez, along with 2 other Hispanic members of the Los Angeles City Council, along with another politician, was caught on leaked audio referring to a black child as a monkey, as a person accessory, and saying some other interesting statements. And she says that she takes full responsibility, that she's so sorry. Oh no, Nury, you're not going to cop no pleas. You're sorry that you got caught, Nury. Oh boy, there's going to be some more resignations, I bet.
We don't need to be mocked being in the streets of the words that this city should be listening to and uplifting. There's people that are homeless on our streets, that are houseless, that there is no regard. And it's shameful, the fact that we have elected officials that think that it is their right to sit and mock black folks, to mock indigenous folks, to mock people in this city that you have torn apart with your words. I want the immediate resignation of each one of them. Then I want an investigation, and everything that has been done in the 10th district, I want it to be reviewed, because anything that people and black people in that part of the city have tried to do, this city council has stood in the way for it not to take place. So I want an investigation, and I want it immediate, but I want their resignation today. Thank you.
Thank you.
So family, I have an update to the LA City Council's racism scandal. The LAPD is now going after Reddit and its users. The LAPD has obtained a search warrant, and now they're trying to find out who posted the leaked audio. So instead of the government going after racists, they're going after the people for giving us legitimate news and information. This is 1984. War is peace. And if you don't remember, the LA City Council members, Kevin De Leon, Gil Cedillo, and the then LA City Council President, Nury Martinez, were caught on audio being anti-black racists. And people say, well, they were against the Azakans too, because they're dark-skinned. That's why. And once again, they won't target the racists. No, they will target the whistleblower who gave us the information. Wow, this is 1984, absolutely Orwellian.
Agenda 18 and public comment.
Okay, so you have
1 minute for each.
Okay, so the LAPD hiring process, I know we're talking about something that we already know that happens behind the scenes. My issue is how we treat each other out here. Half of us don't even show up here every week. I'm appalled, not by what we already know behind the scenes, because Matthew Chavez from Kevin De Leon's office never met with black organizations, homeless organizations, because we are mayatas. That's what we heard, yes? So it's not just about Bonan's black son. It's about black equity for black women, born and raised. California's Reparations Committee, we're still discussing it. So what Nury Martinez did was not surprising. It's what everybody does behind closed doors. She just got caught.
Thank you.
So please don't sit here, don't tell us nothing, just cut the check. Cut the check. So account number 325-137-951 940-12100.
And you can go into general, Dr. Truthpay.
Number, routing number 121000358, the Kingdom Warriors Foundation. We just want the $150 million that LASA and their white supremacists and their Martina mentality to return back that money to black organizations. I need to see some black businesses apply for this funding. Don't sit there and complain when they're not putting the paperwork in. Put your paperwork in, because now you're going to get funded. You're going to get funded. We don't want to hear apologies, sorries, oh, I feel so bad. I don't want to see you crying. We don't care. Cut the check. You see how Rihanna says it best? Better have my money. That's what we're saying. When we born and raised here, and my ancestors, I'm an FBA. I'm a descendant of slaves, so we have a distinct history. I don't want you saying nothing to us. Just cut the check. Cut the check. Because we can help build housing. We're trying to build housing. We're not trying to hear you discuss how to solve homelessness, because you don't have a clue about that. We already know how you feel. We want to do our own job. Now just cut the check, and then you can resign and talk about shit later.
Thank you.
There is white supremacy within the Hispanic community that nobody wants to be honest about. And I'm telling you, if you stitch a duet this was something stupid or something deflecting, I'm not going to respect that. Honesty is what changes my mind at this point. Because I could just rattle off some names. Nuri Martinez, De Leon, Castro, Nicholas Cruz, George Zimmerman. You mentioned the leader of the Proud Boys was Enrique Tarrio, Hispanic. The leader of the Oath Keepers, Stuart Rhodes. His mother was Hispanic. See, it's a whole lot of white Hispanics that have been doing a whole lot of stuff to black people. Now, do not lie about this. Do not deflect, because I do not respect that. It's true. It's a problem. You're not going to lie about it. The Hispanic community needs to address the anti-black racism, that mijola la raza nonsense that goes on within their communities. Clean your house. Seriously. So I'm going to say something about this whole LA City Council racism scandal with Nuri Martinez and others. Many people within the Hispanic community and others have tried to deflect, lie about it, misdirect, try their best to gaslight. And let me go ahead and make something very, very, very clear. When you come around me saying things like, well, she was talking about other Mexicans too, other Hispanics. Let me point something out to you. That is the only reason why Nuri Martinez and others have even considered stepping down. That's the only reason why. Because if it were just anti-black racism against us, well, we see what happened with Trayvon Martin. So, once again, let's keep it a buck. Don't pretend like racism is the same on my side when we don't have the power to do to your community what was done to us. Keep it a buck now. So I just got off the phone with a friend of mine who's been looking into the LA City Council racism scandal and also police gangs for me. And we found a correlation. And the correlation is that when you look at these police gangs, you look at some of the last names, Villanueva, Cedillo, you look at a lot of these last names, they have a lot of things in common. And the one thing that I'm going to not tolerate is people lying about it. There's a problem with these police gangs and specifically the Hispanic community. Villanueva himself is said to be a member of a police gang. Sorry, if you can look at Kanye West and come at us, you can look at Deshaun Watson and come at us, or Bill Cosby come at us, then you can do that too. Make that correlation, because I'm going to reveal that correlation in a fully animated video. And it's going to be hard to deny because the names are going to be just lining down. So family, do you remember the whole LA City Council racism scandal? Well, it turns out that the LAPD are investigating whether the audio of racist comments made by city officials was recorded illegally. They're not going to investigate the racist. Nope. The person who recorded the recording allegedly illegally, because California is a two-party consent state. That's what they're talking about here. So let's get deeper into this story. And so that recording was anonymously posted to Reddit and obtained by the LA Times earlier this month. And so the details show that Nuri Martinez, Gil Cedillo, and Kevin De Leon are racist. And the LAPD are now looking into whether or not the recording was illegally made and also posted. This shows you why I get so upset when people mention Kanye West. This is still going on in our country, and you talk about Kanye West. I better not see another creator on my list mention no Kanye West after they see this video. I don't want to see it again. Because this is absurd. Absurd. You mean tell me the LAPD and the LA County Sheriff's Department has deputy gangs that target black people, but the second, and mind you, most of those deputy gangs are Hispanic officers. I run police gang profile. You can look at the whole playlist. You can see it for yourself. Now, we were wondering, why is it all these racist officers who happen to be Latino, and they're also, again, racist, why did they get so much protection? And now we know why. But you're sitting here telling me about Kanye West. I don't want to hear about Kanye West. I don't want to see you tag me in Kanye West. I don't want to have a conversation about black men. No. Let's solve this first, and then we'll get back to black men. It's very easy to come online and talk smack about black men. Where are you now with this scandal? Keep talking about it every day, like I do. No, that's LA. So if you got the smoke and the energy for Dave Chappelle, Tracy Morgan, Kanye West, and so many other black people, then you better have the energy for this story. No excuses. I don't care about your freaking excuses. I don't care about what you've already put out. Keep talking about it. Because you can't stop talking about Kanye West. Guess what? You got a story here. You got a target here. I don't want to see anything else but this or something else. Because again, it's very easy. It's very funny how we jump on black people so quickly. But yet, this story, well, we just have to have understanding and no. That nonsense ends here. So Matamoros, I was listening to the Tariq Nasheed podcast the other day, and he said Matamoros means somebody who hurts the Moors.
Yeah, more killer.
Really?
Yeah. Matar means to kill.
Right.
Moros means Moors. So Matamoros, more killer.
How long have you known this?
Ever since I became fluent in Spanish.
So this is widespread. You know, Tariq Nasheed didn't just make that up.
No, he didn't make it up, but you also have to understand Islamic history.
Right.
And, and then speak Spanish to draw the conclusion, to link the two.
Wow.
Because Muslim Spain was under Islamic rule for around 800 years. And then the Spanish Inquisition was all about throwing the Muslims out of Spain with King Ferdinand and Queen Isabel when they got married. So the people who were pro-Spanish, pro-Catholic, anti-Muslim, a lot of them took the surname of Matamoros because it means that they are more killers, basically Muslim killers, because the majority of the Muslims that were in Spain were the Moors from Morocco, which is directly across the strait.
You know what's funny? Tariq, myself, Professor Black Truth, the Black Authority, so many other black content creators have said the exact same thing, and we were called divisive. We were called liars. We said people accuse us of disliking people of your descent because we said the exact same thing.
It's historical fact. It's indisputable. It's documented. It's well known.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when people like me spoke about there's this deep dissent, this hatred of black people coming out of that culture, and that I'm not saying that is everybody. I'm saying that it is deeply ingrained that the people who live in places like Mexico and Spanish-speaking countries have spoken about it. I didn't just make that up. Of
course not. It goes back at least 1,000 years, if not more. That's basically in people's DNA at this point. It's basically genetic.
Black folks, I want you to take note of this. This is why I still talk to people who are not black. Do you understand that? Because I've known this for quite some time. You need to watch a podcast to hear this kind of stuff. I'm married to somebody who kind of knows this. And this is why we also need to exchange stories so that we can understand each other better, and we can also understand history. Because once you understand history, people can't come at you with the nonsense because you're well informed. You actually know what you're talking about. And it also helps to start speaking other languages so that when people are talking about you or when you start traveling to places, you can know the history of those places. Because black folks, Matamoros, that place,
Yeah.
Had those black folks who went down to Mexico, had they known the name of that place?
Yeah, I wouldn't even go there. I don't trust it. I mean, that just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
And you're not even black.
I look Eastern European.
Exactly. And even she wouldn't go there.
No.
So I
God.
wanted this video because I didn't want to get her on camera. She's well on her way to having our son. But I wanted her to say that because I mean it's very important that y'all hear this so that you can know history. You know, because these are the kind of things that that we're going to tell our son.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And this is our shared heritage. You know, one of the reasons why he and I chose a couple of Islamic Arabic names is because we have a shared heritage that goes back to Muslim Spain.
Right.
I'm part Mexican.
And a lot of the black Americans here were descendants of the Moors. Yeah. So that's why we picked a Muslim sounding name because we wanted to like symbolize that.
Yeah.
You know.
And they both trace back to the same place.
Yeah.
So whether it's in our blood or not, it's you know, you can have blood ancestors and then you can have land ancestors.
Wow.
So ancestors of the land where you live or where your people were from.
Yeah, so I wanted to get that on video so that you guys can understand that a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, we ain't just making it up.
No. Look, research it.
Research it.
In any history book, history class, it's... I mean, if you speak Spanish, you'll know what Matamoros means. You may not understand the full extent, but I was a practicing Muslim for about 12 years and deeply studied the religion and the history of the people. Yeah. So... that's how I know that Muslims created the original modern hospital.
Yeah, that was the Moors. That was
the Moors.
Yeah, it was the Moors. Yeah. Every leftist out there, liberal, you are responsible for what's happening in this country. You want to know why? Affirmative action, when it comes to how the Republicans are getting a foothold in the Latino community, and also the Asian community and black folks, especially foundational black Americans or your black natives, we have told you for the longest time, it is not us that is the problem. But no, now you got affirmative action. It was an Asian student who started that mess. You look at the deputy gangs, you look at the extremist groups like the freaking Proud Boys, Oath Keepers. Who are their leaders? Latino men. So for the longest time, people like me have been saying that, and what the people did douchebags say about me, huh? You're a xenophobe. You don't like Asians. You don't like Hispanic people. Okay, douchebags. I'm gonna let you be right now. How is that turning out for you? How is that working out for you? I was right. Just concede.